Hello, hello, hello. Been a while since I've done this. Let me check my settings. Check my settings. All right. So while I'm waiting for anybody to show up, I want to talk to dog owners about something that's been playing on my mind for a long time. And you're probably not going to like it, but I got to be realistic with you. I've been fighting a war with dog trainers for quite a while now, years. Okay. And here's the issue for most people that they don't realize: the war is not with dog trainers, the war is with dog owners. Dog owners, I'm sorry to tell you, but after seeing thousands and thousands and thousands of people doing the same thing, you're suffering addiction to dog training. You are brainwashed. And I keep getting comment after comment after comment from dog owners that haven't read books. They won't read books. They don't want to read the science. Dog trainers don't want to read science. Vet behaviors don't want to read science. Behaviors don't want to read science, but they're all coming at me telling me I'm wrong. For example, this one user, Missy, came at me and she said, "I don't punish my dog. I don't punish my dog. I correct my dog." So I posted the video of Robert Cabral talking. Oh, he did the same thing. He did it live. I don't like the word punishment. I like the word correction. And then funny, magically, boom, the word correction went right on through the dog training community at large. Okay. Positive reinforcement, purely positive. Correct the dog. It sounds better, right? IGP imbalance, correct the dog. They're not doing punishment anymore. That's the reality. But yet, they will not understand this and they want to fight me on it. Now, a big thing that I've had dog owners say to me, and it's interesting, they all say the same thing, is how did I get on this dog training in the first place? Where did the addiction come from? I liken dog training to a casino. Okay? You walk into a casino with all the bells and whistles and the flash lights and everything else, and people are going, ooh, ah. Or you get a dog. That's all you got to do is get a dog, get a puppy, get a rescue, and you get online, and what do? Dog training. And that's all it is. And I've talked to thousands of dog owners over the years, and I always ask them one question: what is it that you really want from your dog? It doesn't matter what I want. It doesn't matter what the trainer wants. I have no opinion on the outcome of your dog. What do you want? Not once has a trained dog been a response. But yet that's all there is dog training. And I got people bitching at me about dog training, dog training, dog training. We need to stop and think about what's going on. So let's go back to the casino. You go back to the casino, your positive reinforcement is over here, balance training is on the over here, IGP is in the back. So guaranteed you're going to pick positive reinforcement, right? You're going to belly up because it's the good one, right? But the problem is, what dog trainers did was they absolutely destroyed psychology. They've redefined operant conditioning. They've redefined positive and negative reinforcement. They've redefined applied behavior analysis. And this is what people understand. Positive reinforcement does not have a treat. Positive reinforcement is the animal's desires, wants, needs for the good things in life. And it's also the actions that you take to stay alive. That's the reality. And what actions do you take? Fight or flight, aggression or reactivity. This is such a simple concept, and trainers are so easy to prove wrong. But you dog owners, man, I'm telling you, you're the most difficult people in the world. I can't break your addiction, and I can't help you until you break your own addiction. But in order to break your addiction, you need to understand the cause. It's cause and effect. Something caused you to become addicted. If you walk into a corner store and you buy a lottery ticket and you win $10,000, guess what? That's a positive consequence. That's probably going to make you ante up again and keep anteing up. What your positive reinforcement becomes when all those positive consequences come together, it becomes a positive reinforcement ingrained within you. And guess what? Your positive reinforcement just turned you into a bloody gambler. But dog trainers are out there going, oh, it's all positive. No, it's not. There's a huge dark side to positive reinforcement. So let's get back to the casino. You belly up to a machine. You start pumping money into this machine. You're pumping money into a dog trainer. Pulling that lever. Hopefully, you know what? You get a little positive consequences. You might get a little win here and there. You might get your dog to sit once. And, oh, you know what? It's working. I got to keep doing it. And you keep pumping the money into that machine, getting all these positive and negative consequences. There's no such thing as chance. You either win or you don't win. You're not winning or losing. You're either win or you don't win. Positive consequence, negative consequence. And the two of them combined keep you ponying up. At some point, you realize, you know what? This machine is not going to pay out. That trainer's useless. So you're going to go to another machine. And you're going to start pumping money into another dog trainer. And you might get a little win here and there. You know what? Your dog's sad again. Oh, God, the dog laid down. Oh, God, the dog looked at me. And that's what keeps going on. You're going to exhaust that machine. That machine's not paying out. You go to another one. One of these machines got to pay out. Well, guess what? They're not programmed to pay out. That's the reality. You're going to lose. But at some point, you're going to get tired of pumping money into positive reinforcement because, hey, let's get a show of hands. How many people have ever had any success whatsoever treating a dog's behaviors with primary inducements? They're not positive reinforcements. Primary inducements. They are the bribe. Look up the word dictionary in the bribe or inducement in the dictionary. You'll see the word bribe. That's all you're doing. You're trying to get your dog to do something for a piece of food. That's inducing them. So now we're going to go to balanced training. That is some good news. The 4 quadrants of dog training under Conrad Most are primary and secondary inducements, primary and secondary compulsive inducements. That's the reality. Okay? Now, you're going to go to balanced training. Now you're taking that the first quadrant, positive or primary inducements, right back into the 4. Because that's what it is. It's 1 quadrant at the 4. Now we're going to go balanced training. Now people are reaching up for prong collars. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard dog owners say they got the first time they give that treat. It goes through their mind. Am I doing the right thing? The answer is no, but they do it anyways. Because once you rationalize away that first bad step, the rest come easy. Okay? Now you're going to be going for the prong collar. People, I don't want to jerk the prong collar. I'm just going to walk the dog. Well, guess what? At some point, you're going to start jerking it. Because once you rationalize away that first bad step, the rest come easy. Then you're going to reach for a prong collar. Oh, I'm going to start off and vibrate. I won't be shocking the dog. But at some point, you're going to. Because it's the constant threat of punishment. You need that punishment. Punishment doesn't work. B.F. Skinner would tell you. Punishment is the reverse of reinforcing, but yet they're all telling you to punish your dog. Now you're addicted. That's the reality. Now you're addicted. You've been in the casino for how many years now? Training your dog, you're pumping money into all his machines, and now you got an addiction. And you're not going to get your money back. You're not going to get that payout. You got to leave the casino and go somewhere else. Because there is something else. It's called psychology. Okay? Robert Cabral is selling t-shirts saying science has no place in dog training. Well, guess what? I am the science. I'm bringing the science that he doesn't want in dog training. Why? Because IGP dog trainers, the quadrants of dog training fall under Conrad Most and IGP dog training. Zach George is not a positive reinforcement trainer because he couldn't even define what positive reinforcement is. Zach George and others like him are a primary inducement trainer. They are IGP dog trainers using 1 quadrant out of 4 quadrants of IGP. That's the reality. And once you understand that, you're going to go, fuck, I should have understood that. But you don't because of the addiction. Okay? So stop and think about that. I guess, how do you break the addiction? In the group, we do not allow dog training to be pushed. No ideologies whatsoever. We don't want feminism. We don't want dog training. We don't want any of that crap. It's all about the dog and their owner. It's for dog owners, by dog owners, of dog owners. And that's all it is. Dog trainers come into the group. They try to push everything around. You know what? It's usually the members that chase them out, and they leave in, fear or whatever have you. But you got to understand, we got dog trainers, dog owners in the group all the time, and the ones that join the group are already been there. A lot of these owners have already been through all the gamut of dog training. They've already been down the positive reinforcement route. It didn't work. Guess what? They went into balance. It didn't work. Guess what? What do you do now? So they're up to spending $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on dog training because of their addiction, trying to help their dog. And God love any dog owner. Any dog owner that's willing to put $30,000 into their dog, I salute you. Because there's not too many people that would do it. Okay? But the problem is, you need to recognize at some point that you've been ripped off by dog trainers. It's all one big scam. That's the reality. And let me tell you something. If you want to know who's in control, figure out who you can't criticize. That's easy. How you doing, Pete? I see you. You're still at work, right? Give us something to talk about, Pete. But understand what the addiction, once you understand the cause of the addiction, then you can break it. That's the reality. This is where addictions go. So if a person is addicted to alcohol, there's a reason for it. Something happened in the past that caused them to be an alcoholic. That's the reality. But a lot of times, and this is the reason why, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic, because most times the cause for the alcoholism doesn't get addressed. They can quit drinking alcohol, but the cause is never addressed. Well, if the cause is never addressed and you put a bottle in front of an alcoholic, their chances are they're going to take a drink. Okay? For me, I'm going to be personal. Back in 2020, I got addicted to Dilaudid, which is ranks right up there with heroin. The hospital got me addicted to Dilaudid. Okay? I understood the cause of it, which allowed me to get off of it. It was a hell of a 5 days, but let me tell you something. It was worth it. Because I addressed the cause. I understood the cause. You know what? Now that I understand the cause, getting rid of the addiction is so much easier. It's like children that were abused growing up. They can never address the cause. So all of the outcomes, like drugs and alcohol, the bad attitude and everything else, is all a part of it. The addictions that they develop, but they will never address the cause because they can't face it. That's addictions. Food is the worst addiction there is, and most times it's because of childhood. Something happened in their childhood bad. Food is the worst addiction you can have because you can stop drinking, you can stop smoking, you can stop doing drugs, but you can't stop eating. It's the worst addiction possible. Just give me a second. Now I had a few more questions that came up. I'm just looking through the group. There was a couple of questions that I wanted to address on live for everybody. There was one post in the group that I want to take a look at. Quite often, you got dog owners or dog trainers. They are so addicted to dog training, they can't see anything past it. And there was a comment made in the group yesterday, I believe it was. And it's like this. I'm not going to mention the person's name, but it was in response to one of our admins. Everything that's been suggested here is based in training. If you're not actively training replacement behaviors, negative behaviors are never going to be resolved. Obviously, this group is not geared towards success or help. There's no training suggested. And that's a serious issue because we're not about training. The dog owners in the group that are having success have understood now they need to throw dog training in the garbage. But that's all she understands. That's all this person understands. If there's no training suggested, then what fix is there? And that's a crazy thing to understand, Peter's saying the issue is that dog training gets people instant results. Yep, that's part of it. But I mean, if you're using a prong collar or a e-collar, yeah, you can get instantaneous results, not so much with treats, right? And that's the whole thing. It's all about positive consequence, but they're all negative consequences in reality because what you're doing is applying punishment to your dog. You see, what you got to realize, like, people don't realize just how much they punish their dog. And until you understand what positive reinforcement truly is, you can't understand what punishment is. Positive reinforcement, once again, is the animal desires for the good things and the desire to stay alive. So when you're taking that away, and every time you're going, no, 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 the dog wants to do something, and you're going, no, 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 you're punishing the dog. You're not correcting the dog, you're punishing the dog. Okay? Every time you zap that dog with a prong collar or a e-collar, you're saying no, you're punishing that dog. It's the application of negative reinforcement as punishment. That's the reality. Stop and think about that. Positive reinforcement is removal of negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is the removal of positive reinforcement. The application of negative reinforcement is punishment. So when you forcefully take away a dog's positive reinforcement through compulsion, that's called punishment. So when I watched Zach George, I did a reaction to Zach George quite a while ago when he was working with the so-called aggressive German Shepherd. What a joke that was. Zach George doesn't know what aggression is. That poor dog wasn't even reactive. But when the video started, he already had the dog in a muzzle and a leash. He's already taken away the dog's positive reinforcement, that fight or flight response. That's the fight or flight response is your positive reinforcement. When you see your dog raging like a lunatic on the end of the leash, that's your dog's positive reinforcement. There's something in the negative or in the environment that they deem negative that they want to drive away. That's the reality. The dog's in positive reinforcement. So when Zach turns around and puts a muzzle on the dog can't use his milk to defend itself, and the dog can't run away. He's taken away the dog's fight or flight response. And that's the worst bloody punishment you can do. Positive reinforcement, purely positive. They're all stop the behavior, shut down the behaviors. You can do it in seconds. Punishment is punishment attempts to remove a behavior from a bloody repertoire. That's what punishment is. Shut down behaviors, stop behaviors. It's all a system of punishment. But your dog owners don't want to understand this. You're bloody addicted to dog training. That's the reality. You got to break this addiction. There is something else. It's called psychology, and that's what all we're doing in the group. We're teaching about basic psychology, and we're teaching you how to apply that psychology. That's all we're doing. Yep. But I mean, again, with Pete, it makes it look good, but it's turning you into a bloody narcissist. That's the reality. I've had a lot of dog owners come to me finally realizing that they were turned into a narcissist by dog trainers. And how fast can you turn a dog owner to a narcissist? One session. Narcissists seek to control and manage, and that's exactly what you're being told to do to your dog. And I see a lot of dog owners out there right now. They're going with the treats. They got the prong or the e-collar. They're online. Look at what I can get my dog to do. And that's exactly it. You're using inducement through either primary inducement, which is a treat, or compulsive inducement, which is punishment. That's your collar. That's your e-collar. That's your prong collar. And they're out there going, oh my God, look what I can do. And everybody's getting jealous. They're going, ooh, on. They're validating all that shit. That's a narcissistic attitude. And your dog is now living the life under a narcissist. Imagine, put yourself into a situation where you're under the thumb of a narcissist husband or a wife. Would you like that? How would the relationship be? Kind of toxic? Being rewarded and punished all the time? You don't know which way to move? You don't know what to do? That's reality. But it's all one big addiction. And it's unfortunate. Just bear with me here for a minute. I had a list of questions and I can't find them. Or a few questions. Actually, you know what? I want to touch on the live that Kevin did with Mark. Okay? And again, I'm going to tell him, Kevin just doesn't want to read a book. And I've been telling him for the last year to read a book. And the last year, he could have read all of Skinner's books and all of Skinner's papers, but he doesn't want to. No, I haven't sat down and listened to 4.5 hours of the podcast because I watched the first 10 minutes and I turned it off because whatever. But I went through the transcript and I was looking for certain words, and he got into the conversation of rationalization. And according to Kevin, the dog doesn't rationalize the way we do. Well, that's utter bullshit. What is rationalization? Kevin, when you're in the environment and you all of a sudden get scared, you're not sure what to do. Your cortisol and your adrenaline levels are going up. Okay? Now, at that point, you got to rationalize away. Is this thing worth? You got to process that information. Is this thing worth being afraid of or not? Should I go fight or flight, or can I put it in the not a big deal bucket? This is called operant conditioning. But the fact that you don't think that a dog can rationalize the way we do, and if you go listen to Dr. Greg, everybody should go listen to Dr. Burns' TED Talk on the predictive brain of the dog. It's amazing. Dogs have predictive brains just like we do, but yet, according to people like Kevin, they can't rationalize. The problem is you're not allowing your dog to rationalize. That's the reality. And Kevin doesn't realize that by carrying that attitude, he's actually pushing Edward Thorndike and methodological behaviorism. What's one of the big rules under methodological behaviorism? Don't you dare compare human behavior to that of the lesser species. That's all he can do. And he doesn't understand Edward Thorndike. He never knew the name Edward Thorndike until I mentioned it to him. But yet he keeps coming at me. And let me tell you something, folks. The best skill in the world you can learn is how to be in negative reinforcement. You just got to stand there and be in negative reinforcement. You got to be Rocky Gibraltar. Negative reinforcements generate behavior of fight and flight. And let me tell you something. When you learn to be a true negative reinforcement and you put up boundaries, you can watch these arseholes fight and flight all freaking day because they can't help it. They're like puppies to a slipper. That's what narcissists do. They seek to control and manage, and they try to get in which way they can. And let me tell you something. Everything that Kevin came at me with, every barrage of bullshit that he came at me with, because he won't read a book, he got his ass beat. And he's come up with the stupidest things. And I told you once again, Kevin, like I told you on the video tonight, if you would just sit down and read books, I know you got some knowledge of what you're doing, but you don't have any scientific backing. None whatsoever. If you would just sit down and read the science, stop being a lazy ass and an ignoramus and sit down and read the books, I would support you. You could be the best. You could be the biggest thing out there, but you wouldn't do it. You won't do it. I would actually support you. We could be friends, but you don't want to do it. You spent the last year trying to kick my ass, and all I've been doing is beating yours. All you've done is gone through all my stuff, and thank you very much for wasting so much of your life going through all my shit looking for negative. And you didn't find a whole lot of negative, did you? But yet you wasted a lot of time. Why is it with people, they don't want to read a book? Dog trainers don't want to read a book. Dog owners don't want to read a book. Many dog trainers have never heard of Conrad Most, but yet that's the very basis for the Quadros of dog training. Not Skinner. And once you read Conrad Most Training Dogs, guess what? You will understand the entire basis of dog training today. Conrad Most is the father of Schutzhund, father of IGP, Robert Cabral, Ivan Balabanov, Haas Ottman, Ivan Bell, or all the rest of them, all these IGP trainers. That's their dog training Bible. And unfortunately, that dog training Bible has been spread all the way through. And now it's in the behavior ring. And it's been in the behavior ring for a long time, and it doesn't belong. It doesn't belong. That's the reality. But you got Ivan Ben Avalov out there. He actually stated on camera that only trainers like him, only IGP trainers like him should be working in behavior. Robert Cabral, 30 years expert in the behavior ring. 30 years in the behavior ring. Go listen to and define the word behavior. Ranks right there. What is a woman? But yet they're all calling me slanderous. I find it really funny. If that was really slanderous, if you had any say, if you could prove me wrong, you'll be doing videos. You'll be sticking your face on camera going, hey, Rob, I've seen your video. Here's why you're wrong. Here's the science. But no, it's not happening. No, they try to shut me down. They call me slanderous. Why? Because they can't defend against it. They can't defend against their own lies. That's the reality. And that's all it is. It's a scam. That's all it is. Dog trainers turned around. They baked the cake with Edward Thorndike and methodological behaviorism, which tells you, again, don't you dare compare human behavior to that of lesser species. But that's exactly what Skinner was doing. He's a radical behaviorist, his radical idea of replace your dog with a human child. Why do I know this? Because Skinner was replacing humans with dogs, pigeons, and rats. He was doing experiments on animals in a lab to understand human behavior. That's what he was doing, because he understood that the causes of human behavior is no different from that of the cause of the dogs or pigeons or rats. It's quite simple. But yet people don't want to read a book. Psychology is amazing. Psychology is everything we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's everything you are. You're operant conditioning. They redefined operant conditioning. B.F. Skinner is the father of operant conditioning, but yet they blame him for their definition. A method of behavioral modification using reward and punishment. And they go, yay, Skinner. That's not Skinner. The way Skinner defined operant conditioning is about survival of the fittest, survival of the animal and the species as a whole. Your positive reinforcements are your full belly, shelter, and sex to procreate. Everything else is above and beyond that. It's all your wants and desires. That's the reality. They redefine positive reinforcement. They have a treat and adding things. That's terrifying. Positive reinforcement is such a deep subject, ladies and gentlemen. With a huge dark side. Negative reinforcement is a dark subject. With a huge dark side. Every cloud has a silver lining. That's negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcements keep you safe. They're actually good for you. But yet, reward and punishment, that's all they do. They're pushing Conrad most. So they iced the cake with Edward Thorndike and methodological behaviorism. They iced the fucking cake with Conrad most, and they signed Skinner's name to it. If Skinner woke up today and seen the state of dog training blamed on him, he would go ballistic. There'll be lawsuits flying, the whole system will crash. And it's funny how you see all these trainers, these positive reinforcement and purely positive trainers, doing podcasts with IGP dog trainers. Why are they doing that? Because they're part and parcel of IGP. They're pushing one quadrant of IGP. If the 4 quadrants don't work in behavior, what makes you think 1 quadrant is going to work? Stop and think about that. It doesn't work. That's the reality. But why are we doing it? Positive reinforcement, again, is such a deep subject. But all society knows that positive reinforcement is have a bloody treat and adding things, and that terrifies me. As a result, I'm watching society rip itself apart. Just because of a simple definition of a word. Why won't Zach George tell you what the real definition of positive reinforcement is? I guarantee he knows it. I guarantee you, Dog Daddy. Dog Daddy, he read Conrad Most, Training Dogs, and he said, I can do this, I can make $1 million out of it. And that's exactly what he did. He's all about the spike collar in the book, the prong collar. Well, guess who was in the area when Conrad Most wrote that book back in 1910, but Herman Springer, inventor of the prong collar. Conrad actually called it the spike collar. And all the information that you need about dog training today is in Conrad Most Training Dogs, but yet nobody's ever heard of him. You will never hear an IGP dog trainer talk about Conrad Most. Why? Go ask them. I've asked several IGP dog trainers, why don't you sit down and talk about Conrad Most? Not a chance. Because once they do, they throw their entire career in the garbage. It's like the word behavior. The entire system of dog training as we know it today comes down to the definition of one word. What is a behavior? They can't define it. They can't define it. Why? Because they don't give a shit. They don't need to, because all they're focused on is shutting down behavior. Suppressive behaviors. And ladies and gentlemen, if you got a bunch of dog trainers out there right now telling you to suppress aggression, and that is the most stupid and dangerous thing that you could ever do, because at some point in the future, if you don't fix the cause, guess what? You can suppress the aggression, but that cause is going to start growing heads. And this is the reason why you start getting worse and worse behaviors. And at some point, when somebody gets bitten, are dog trainers going to take the blame for it? Are they going to take any accountability? Nope. I sell my time. I don't sell results. What a big old cop out, eh? Stop and think about it. Dog owners, you're addicted to dog training. If you don't believe that, go into the Facebook groups, get into the dog training groups. Let me tell you something. You'll see addiction all over the place. You got people addicted to positive reinforcement. You got people addicted to balance training, and they're in there scrapping it out. They're fighting with each other. They're doing it all. And you got trainers in the mix going, oh my God, keep on fighting. It's us versus them. This is gone beyond narcissism. A narcissist wouldn't do that. Something far worse than a narcissist would want to do this. And there's no accountability for anything. The billions of dollars, I'm willing to bet there's been billions of dollars in damage done by dog training. But everybody calls me crazy. Nobody's taking accountability for it. Millions of dead dogs, behaviorally euthanized by a bunch of people that can't define the word behavior. You got millions of dog owners' lives affected, some destroyed by this garbage. And they lost money and they'll never get it back. Thousands and thousands of dollars. Funny, isn't it? You got millions of dogs that are right now, I would suspect, showing behavioral aggression, reactivity, and everything else as a result of all these lies and garbage. But yet they come to me and they want to argue the contents of fucking books they haven't read. And that really upsets me. It really does. I get it. You know what? I've been fighting with trainers for years, but when you get it from dog owners, man, I tell you, it's a bad thing. It's a hard thing to swallow. You got to wake up, people. You're being lied to. That's reality. I might as well sign off. It's been 26 minutes. I don't feel so good. So if you got any questions, leave a comment or email me at robert@yourdogsnotbroken.org.